Dear beloved, thank you for choosing to be part of this growing community. Your decision to join us is a true act of love and support. It means a lot to see people standing with others as they share their life stories, experiences, and testimonies. Here, you'll find real stories that can inspire change, build your faith, and lift you up when you need it most. We also kindly ask that you like, comment, and share our videos. Your support helps us reach more people and make a bigger impact. God bless you. My heart is overflowing with gratitude as I share a story that transformed the entire course of my life. My name is Usman Hassan. I am 23 years old, and today I live in Toronto, Canada. But my journey began far away, in the bustling city of Amman, Jordan. I was born and raised there, surrounded by narrow streets always alive with footsteps, voices, and the aroma of fresh bread, roasted meat, and spices that drifted from busy marketplaces. 5 times a day, the call to prayer echoed through the air, rising above the noise of traffic and crowds. My parents and I lived in a modest apartment in a working-class neighborhood. The walls were so thin that every conversation from next door slipped easily into our home, laughing, arguing, gossiping, everything. The air always carried the sense of coffee and dust, creating a strange mixture that became normal to me as I grew up. Most mornings, I woke up to the clatter of pots and pans as my mother prepared breakfast: bread, olives, cheese, and strong tea. Being an only child, I carried the entire weight of my parents' expectations from a young age. My father, Hassan, who was 48 at the time, worked endlessly as a taxi driver navigating Amman's chaotic traffic. He was a strict man, quick-tempered, and his loud voice often intimidated me. Each night when he returned home sweaty and exhausted, he reminded me of what he believed my life should be. Usman, you must be a better Muslim. Study hard and make us proud, he would say. He wanted me to become an engineer because, in his mind, that was the path to respect and dignity for our family. But those expectations felt like heavy chains on my shoulders. I constantly feared disappointing him, feared that no matter how hard I tried, I would never be enough. My mother, Isa, was the softness in our home. She was 42, gentle, caring, and devoted to caring for us. She prayed faithfully and often whispered prayers for me while cooking. She would wake me up for morning prayer with a gentle voice, saying, "Usman, come pray with us." She sensed something was wrong long before I admitted it. Sometimes she would look at me as she kneaded dough and ask, "Usman, are you okay?" I always responded, "Yes, Mama," even though deep inside I felt empty, unsure of my faith, and terrified that Allah might not accept me. I was studying engineering at university, but I struggled endlessly. Every day was a battle: assignments, exams, expectations, and my personal doubts about faith. I would lie awake at night staring at the cracked ceiling of my bedroom, my heart racing with anxiety. I prayed, begging Allah to hear me, to respond, to show me something, but the silence only deepened my loneliness. My father snored loudly in the next room. My mother whispered her prayers, and I lay awake wondering if I was the only one drowning in fear and confusion. If you haven't liked, comment, or share, please do. University life made everything worse. I didn't fit into any group. Some students barely cared about religion. They skipped prayers, joked in crude ways, and spent their days smoking shisha. Others were extremely strict, monitoring every detail of religious practice. I remember one day I was so stressed about an exam that I forgot I wasn't supposed to eat while fasting. When a student named Khalid saw me eat by mistake, he glared at me and said, "Usman, you are a bad Muslim. Allah will judge you for this." His words cut deeply, even though my mistake wasn't intentional. Because of experiences like that, I started avoiding people. My closest friend was Yusef, who was 24. He was laid back, didn't take religious matters seriously, and always tried to make me laugh. We often sat on the steps outside the engineering building sipping soda, and he would say, "Usman, relax. Allah won't throw you in hell over one missed prayer." I would smile, but his words didn't ease my inner turmoil. I longed for peace, for closeness to God, but I had no idea how to find it. Yosef sometimes dragged me to the marketplace for cheap falafel sandwiches. In those moments I felt briefly lighter, but the heaviness always returned. One girl in my class, Miriam, was someone I barely knew but never forgot. She was Christian, a rare thing in our part of Jordan, and wore a small cross necklace. While many students whispered about her, she remained kind and quiet. One day after class, she approached me and said softly, "Usman, you seem troubled today. God sees your heart." Her words stunned me. In Islam, we focused on rules, obligations, and rituals. We rarely spoke about the heart. I didn't know what to make of what she said. That night, I searched the phrase "God sees the heart" on my phone. The result surprised me, a Bible verse from 1 Samuel. I had never read the Bible. If my father knew what I was doing, he would have been furious. But something stirred inside me. I couldn't ignore what I read. The Lord looks at the heart. What did that mean? Why did it feel so warm and comforting? I tried to push the thought away, telling myself I was just tired, confused, or being tempted away from Islam. But deep inside, something was shifting. Weeks passed, and the pressure kept building: academic pressure, religious pressure, family pressure. Until one hot day in Amman, everything collapsed. It was during a religious fast, and I hadn't eaten or drunk anything all day. I had stayed up late studying for a major exam, and exhaustion consumed me. The sun was burning overhead as I walked home, navigating the noisy streets filled with vendors shouting, children running, and cars honking. My father's voice echoed in my head, "Usman, make us proud." I felt I had failed everyone. My chest tightened, my breaths became shallow, and dizziness overtook me. I tried to keep walking. "Just make it home," I whispered to myself. But before I reached the next street, my vision began to blur. The world spun around me, and my legs gave out. I reached for the wall but missed and fell to the ground. Pain shot through my head as it hit the pavement. Voices surrounded me, echoing as if underwater. A woman knelt beside me shouting for help. A man called for a doctor. Someone tried giving me water. But everything faded from sound to silence. Then darkness consumed me. When I opened my eyes, I was no longer on the street. I was in a place so terrifying that I instantly knew. I was in hell. The air was thick and filled with choking smoke. Flames surrounded me. The ground burned through my shoes. Screams echoed everywhere, screams so haunting they pierced my soul. I saw faces I recognized trapped in the flames, including an imam from our mosque, Sheikh Ahmed, who was known for his strict teachings. To my horror, he was burning, crying out in agony. I was wrong, Usman. Rules did not save me. If you don't find the truth, this is your end too. His cries shattered everything I believed. Then I saw myself, in the flames, burning, screaming, saying, I never found peace. I witnessed a future in which I spent my whole life trying to be the perfect Muslim but still ended up in the same torment. I saw my funeral, my father standing at my grave blaming himself, my mother weeping uncontrollably, saying she failed to help me. The images crushed me. I fell to my knees, sobbing, feeling the heat suffocating me. Allah, save me. I screamed. But there was no answer. Only more darkness. More terror. More silence. Then, suddenly, a small light appeared far away. At first it looked like a star, but it grew brighter, stronger, pushing away the flames. The screams faded. The heat softened. A figure stepped into the light. He was clothed in pure white, glowing with a radiance I had never seen. His face was peaceful and full of love. My heart thumped wildly because I knew who he was, Jesus. I didn't understand. I'm Muslim, I thought. Why is Jesus here? But he spoke before I could say anything. His voice was full of authority yet gentle enough to calm storms. Usman, he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. His words pierced me. He showed me his hands, scarred. His side, wounded. His love, unmistakable. I died for you, he said. I came to give you peace, not fear. Tears streamed down my face. I had never felt such love, not even in my most desperate prayers. He took my hand, and instantly the darkness disappeared. Suddenly we were standing in a breathtaking garden, lush green grass, crystal clear streams, flowers of glowing colors, a golden light shining everywhere. Birds sang melodies so beautiful my heart felt weightless. Ahead stood a city that shimmered like it was built from gold and jewels. "This is heaven," Jesus told me. "There is no fear here." I saw people full of joy, and among them was my grandfather. He had died when I was young. He looked vibrant, happy, alive. Jesus told me my grandfather had believed in him secretly before he died. My grandfather waved at me, his eyes shining with love. But I was bewildered. I never knew he had come to Jesus. Jesus then showed me my life. I watched myself praying, fasting, obeying rules, trying to earn God's approval, but my heart remained empty. My prayers were words, not connection. My fasting was duty, not devotion. My fear grew, but peace never came. Then Jesus said something that broke me. "Your actions cannot save you, Usman. Only my grace can. I am the only way to the Father." He showed me two possible futures. One in which I stayed in Islam, growing older, more anxious, more exhausted, until I collapsed again and entered the same hell I had seen. I saw my parents grieving over my grave. Then he showed me another future, one full of peace, where I followed him. I saw myself reading the Bible with joy, sharing Jesus with others, comforting my parents. I even saw my father's hard heart soften, my mother's eyes brighten with hope. I saw myself at school talking to students about Jesus, some crying, some believing. "This is the life I desire for you," Jesus said. "It will not be easy. People will insult you. Some will persecute you. But I will never leave you." Then he said words that felt like healing. "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." At that moment, I surrendered. "I will follow you, Jesus," I said through tears. "I want the peace you give." He smiled. The light brightened. And then, I woke up. I was lying in a hospital bed in Amman, machines beeping around me. My mother sat beside me, pale and crying. When I whispered, "Jesus saved me," everything changed. My father became furious when he found out. He yelled, accused, threatened. He told me I was no longer his son. Days later, he discovered a Christian app on my phone and smashed it. He shouted that I was an apostate and was destroying our family. My mother, torn between love and fear, begged us both to calm down. But the conflict grew worse. Then something unexpected happened. I received a full scholarship to study engineering in Canada. My father refused to let me go, believing the West would steal my faith. But after more fights, he gave me an ultimatum: reject Jesus or leave the house forever. I chose Jesus. My mother packed my things through tears. My father refused to say goodbye. And so I boarded the plane alone, praying silently, "Jesus, stay with me." In Toronto, life was cold and unfamiliar, but Jesus became my anchor. I joined a Christian student group. They welcomed me as family. My faith grew stronger. I began sharing my story with other Muslim students. Some listened. One named Ali cried reading about Jesus' forgiveness and gave his life to Jesus. But trouble followed too. Some students accused me of spreading hatred. I received warnings from the university. Even my father back home fell ill, blaming my conversion. One night, overwhelmed but determined, I recorded a video testimony telling everything, from my life in Amman to the vision of hell and heaven to choosing Jesus. I posted it online. The video spread quickly. My friend Miriam messaged me, warning that people in Jordan were talking and the mosque was watching. Yet despite the fear, I felt peace. I had chosen truth. I had chosen Jesus. And I knew he would use my story to touch hearts, just like he touched mine.